Here we are in Vida en Espiral, live in Espiral in English, with your host, Claudia Simasek, where we'll maintain pleasant themes and conversations. Just get comfy and enjoy. Hello, hello! How are you? Here we are again in Vida en Espiral, live in Spiral in English. And today I want to talk to you a little bit of the Montessori world, the Montessori guide, because that is what we say it in the classroom. We usually use the word teacher for the people in the world to understand who we are in the classroom, but we are a guide. And I decided to do this podcast about what is Montessori because many people has misconceptions and taboos about what is the Montessori education and think like it's a method that is not for everybody or is a method that is weird to understand. Remember that everything that I'm going to tell you here first come out from my training and my experience of being a Montessori guide, Montessori teacher, and also is very general because the Montessori world is really wide and deep and has many years that has been in the world. I will start with Maria Montessori. Maria Montessori, born in Italy the 31st of August in 1870, and was the first doctor in Italy. In that time, women were not supposed to pursue a career. Women were not supposed to end a career such as a doctor. She was very discriminated, but she fell in love of the human development and decided to study a little bit more about processes like developments in life, especially the kids, the pregnancies. And after her career, she had the opportunity to work with kids with different disabilities. And thanks to her observations and like she put in process many things that she decided, she created something, a way to for them to learn totally different. And that is how the Montessori method born. At first she has to prove, like deeply prove to many doctors and many people in school boards and education in Italy that that was a method worth to apply. And was through her students that she proved that they were learning in a very different way by use the hands, by use materials and manipulatives that were completely different. They were kids that didn't have the capacity to learn like just to see a teacher and do whatever she was doing. They were hands-on in whatever she was presenting. And that is how the Montessori method born with the Casa dei Bambini in Italy. I want to talk to you a little bit of the philosophy behind Maria Montessori. Maria Montessori, her biggest training was 3 to 6. That was the ages that she started working and put a lot of work in that. There's now many others ways like to apply the Montessori method till high school. And many of those trainings was also made by her first students. Maria Montessori died on May 6, 1952, but the Montessori world has been growing and growing and growing. For example, 0 to 3 training was made by Silvana Quattrocchi Montarano, that was one of her first students and brilliant students. In the Montessori world, there are always mixed ages. So 3 to 6, 6 to 9, 9 to 12, on. So the method for infant is 0 to 3. And the way to the reason why is because the youngest kid were like learn from the oldest one. For example, remember when you were a kid or a teenager and you have that favorite friend that explained to you the homework or the theory in class in a different way and you understand? That's the same feeling that the youngest kid have in a prepared Montessori environment. If you are a teacher or if you teach whatever other thing, could be arts or handcrafts, when you were learning to do those things was very fulfilling, but you have to like learning in another way in order to be a teacher. For example, I was an English teacher as well when I was like 18, 19. When I was learning English, was very excited. I was very passionate about it. But then the opportunity came for me to teach and I did it. But I was learning another way. I was learning many things that I didn't see when I was a student because I was a teacher. So it's the same thing that happened with the oldest kid. Also, remember that the older kid in a Montessori environment is closer to the youngest kid. So they don't see a big gap between you, for example, with the youngest kid. And the oldest kid have the opportunity to practice everything that he had worked for those 2 years and something to with the youngest one. That's why we have what is called leaders in the classroom, because they are role models for the youngest kid. They are teachers for the youngest kid. In the Montessori world, we are guide. And why we are guide? Because it's supposed that the teacher is not the main figure in the classroom. We are just there to present materials, to teach them courtesy and grace, to model everything, but not to be the one that is telling you everything that you have to do, right? That's why we are a guide, a classroom where the kids work without the commands of the teacher is a classroom that is normalized. That was the terminology that Maria Montessori gave. When the kid is normalized, he or she learned to work in the classroom without you telling him or telling her that they have to work. Another thing is like we don't use the term play in the classroom, even though the materials look like very fabulous toys. We use the term work. What do you want to work today? How do you feel after working with your material? Because Maria Montessori wants to give a sense of responsibility with the material, a sense of respect to the material. So that's why we use the terminology work. We don't use play. We use play when we are outside in the playground or in a backyard of our center or whatever. We use the terminology work. Another thing is the materials. The materials are designed for the kid to explore, basically to explore and fulfill internal needs. Every material has to be presented first of all by the guide, and then the kid will practice till he or she fulfill the internal need that she or he had, and then pass to another material. All the materials have a pre-material, like you cannot just enter and start touching everything and do everything because you need to have a presentation before. And many people have a misconception that the kids do whatever they want inside of a Montessori classroom. The reality is that Maria Montessori talk about freedom in between limits. So that means that the kids have the freedom to work with whatever material that they have been present that are in the cabinets, or like we use bookshelves and put materials. If he has been introduced to the material by a presentation, he can use it whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and use all the materials that he had been present to. That is freedom in between limits. And that is something that for people that work in the traditional environment seems like, I can't believe, like if I have kids taking whatever material, like, will they fight for it? Or Is there some ideas like he can use it again? With the use of the materials, there are always one material of each presentation, and that means like they learn how to wait. They learn like if your friend needs to use it, he needs to wait. They learn impatience, because Montessori education is education for peace and education for life. They try to imitate as much as possible how could be the real world that is about materials. The curriculum inside of the Montessori world, like we have practical life, sensorial, mathematical, language, appraisal, cultural, peace curriculum, the nature curriculum. In many classrooms, it looks like a home. It works like a home where the kids do their own cleaning, where the kids do academics works, where the kids work with sensorial, where the kids sweep the floor, clean their messes, because it's a holistic and integral preparation for life. Sometimes parents feel worried because the kid is spending too much time in practical life, which is all about the use of your hands and fine motor skills, and oh, he still doesn't have interest in language or math. But the Montessori guy knows that when they start working with math and language, they are ready. You still have your part of do the presentations, but if they focus more in sensorial or practical life, we don't worry about that, because we know that when the kid start like getting ready and interest in math or language, is because they are ready to move on. In the traditional method, they introduce the kid really early to letters and numbers and academics without giving the opportunity to work a lot in practical life. And Montessori is big about that. It's big about give the kid a sense of self-esteem and a sense of be productive and be independent before working in all those things. And we promote those opportunities. And Maria Montessori thought like grow the kids like this, educate the kids like this is an education for peace. Kids doesn't build their self-esteem, me telling them or your parents telling you, I'm so proud of you, you are so great. They build their self-esteem doing things, proving themselves that they are capable of. And that is what the Montessori method gives them. Montessori method is one of the method, or for me, is the method that respect deeply, deeply, deeply the autonomy of the kid, that respect the students in their different stages, and that promote a way that the students can express themselves without being judged. You can be from whatever culture, you can be from whatever religion, you can be from whatever ethnicity, and Montessori method will embrace you. And it's the same with the guides, the teachers. We can be from whatever background. And if you did the training for be a Montessori teacher, a Montessori method, in the Montessori method, either for the IMS or for the AMI, that is the training from the Maria Montessori actually found in Italy, you can be a Montessori guide. Is one of the methods that put down so many barriers and discrimination, that work and embrace everybody and everything in a world of respect and positive self-esteem. So that being said, I want to actually close a little bit with a little small paragraph from my album. Every Montessori guide has to have albums from the different curriculums in Montessori, where Maria Montessori expressed that the goal from infant education shouldn't be fool the kids with academics tools. Is cultivate the natural desire of learning. And you can do it in two ways. Allow the kid to experiment the freedom and joy from learning for itself instead of being obligated, and help the kid's perfection all the attitudes that he has or she has naturally to learn, and develop the tools for future experiences. So with this, I want to say a little bit of goodbye of talking about the Montessori world with the kids. I will tell you a little bit about the Montessori guide. Why I say always that Montessori is a way of living, because in order to be a guide, you need to go training. And in there, you understand the huge thing behind the Montessori world. The teacher, Maria Montessori, first of all, did a lot of research in human behavior, psychology. She works off the hands of big psychology proposals like Piaget, Freud, Vygotsky. And she was a deeply and a strong believer that the Montessori guide need to work on herself, on himself, before enter in the classroom. She has a whole curriculum also of how the Montessori guide needs to take care. That's why Montessori provides so much opportunity for the teachers to grow in different areas, to actualize their knowledge, to go different conferences, and is a big believer that the guide needs to work in the spiritual world, in their psychology, emotions, well-being, physically talking. So the Montessori guide needs to be a person that has good habits in different areas, that need to have like a plan set when she or he go to classroom, because the kids learn by modeling. We are role models. And our classrooms are homes that, and you can see it, like when you work in the in the Montessori school, you see that every classroom has a touch and has things that are very characteristic of the guide. Oh, I know, Miss so and so is there, the kids behave like her or behave like him. Have a little bit of a way of show that you are the guide of them. It's like when you have kids, your kids reflect a little bit of who you are, right? The same thing in a classroom environment. And we can continue talking and talking about the Montessori world, but I found imperative to talk about these things because I usually get a lot of questions about why the Montessori guide are like that, why the students are like that, misconceptions about Montessori. So today I took the time to explain very briefly of what is the Montessori world. If you decide that we speak more deep about certain points, you can write it in the comments, and also rate our show, send it to people. Remember that this podcast is also recorded in Spanish for the people that don't speak English. You can share it with them. And I say goodbye with this podcast. I hope that you had enjoyed and that have a great day, and that whatever we share here, you have like a little seed that you can go and do your own research about what I have talked to you today. So I hope that you have a morning, afternoon, or evening that is going spectacular. Till the next episode.